Hi, I'm Dr. Brian Wansink from the Cornell Food and Brand Lab. Have you ever heard the expression, there are no atheists in combat? We decided to do some research and find out whether that's true or not. I mean, the bottom line is, of course there are atheists in combat. But what's interesting is what happens under heavy combat experiences 50 years later in a person's life. We did the first study. What it was, we found some archival data from World War II that looked at infantrymen in combat in the South Pacific. In fact, we're on a South Pacific island right here. This is a World War II cemetery you see, and it also happens to be the one that my father-in-law is buried at. We took this archival data, and when analyzing these combat servicemen, we found three important things. If you look at combatants in World War II in the South Pacific, they fell into three categories. 40% claimed they were praying all the time, okay? 28% said they never prayed. And about another 32% said they prayed only when the fighting got really, really intense. So what they did is they turned on their prayer switch just kind of when things got really, really dire. The second study we did is we took about 1,500 U.S. veterans of World War II, and we surveyed them 50 years after the war. And one of the things we found is that increased combat influenced people in very different ways depending on whether they had had a positive or negative experience in the military in general. Okay, people who said the military was terrible, they hated their military experience, were about 28%, they went to church rather, 28% more often than people who didn't see combat at all. But if you saw or thought of your military experience as positive, what happened, we found those people end up going to church about 18% less often than those who hadn't had any combat at all. So why would a study like this be published in a journal as prestigious as the Journal of Religion and Health? Well, I think there's a couple implications that are worth considering for people who've come back and they're dealing with, let's say, issues related to having experienced a lot of combat. One is that there seems to be this powerful need, a powerful benefit that can be there for people who've been in combat who want to get the support of others. Now, that can be through secular organizations, it could be through having buddies or support groups or anything like that, but you need to interact with other people, it seems. The second thing is that for some people, particularly that have had really bad experiences, even involved in organized religion might be something that they find very beneficial in a way that might have been overlooked in the past. And in the end, this research isn't meant to say anything about atheists. It's not meant to say anything about theists or about foxholes. In the end, I think, as this saying goes, it says a lot less about atheism and theism than it says about foxholes.